Hello, welcome to Gotta Do Something with Colin. Don't think I should put my last name on here. I'm sure someone will figure it out eventually. After all, I'm such a popular person. Realized the other day when I was voting, I don't think I can get anybody that I can write in as a write-in candidate for anybody. I mean, other than my immediate family, everybody I know of is like a war criminal down here in the South or something else like that that's against the United States, even though they keep asking about who all was in the riots all the time, and don't you know those people? And I'm just going, I haven't been to the playground since I was 7. Seriously, it's been that long. With all the remote interrogations and everything else, and then they say just take a nice happy schizophrenia pill, and I'm like, you don't let me choose my own. Why can't I choose my own pills? The police get to do it. Scotty. I can't believe that Star Trek guy's still around all the time. It's like, can I be beamed to a new place out there with something that's a little bit better for all of everything? It's just not enough sci-fi in this world. He really should have been the captain instead of Captain Kirk. Just need a good Scotsman there in charge of everything. Then Sean Connery can be over there taking a Uhura's place and have 2 or 3 Vulcan women running around with Spock. Yeah, we just need to not, just to think of good old Captain Scotty. It's such a way that we can just keep doing everything. Cheers. And just insane, so with how everything's going here, I happened to see this one guy on television and, well, YouTube. It's almost no difference anymore. I just want to say openly that he was talking about California. And I had this epiphany that came to me. And it came from everywhere out there. And I mean, it is absolutely ridiculously crazy. As I just sit here thinking about whatever anybody does. And I'm sure I'm going to be listening to somebody from the Central African Republic area. And I go, it really does look like whenever they broke out of the prison up there in 1985. And no one was allowed to do anything, and all the constructs had to be sent back to Rome, Italy, and we pulled out because we're very bad people. Now we defend them from everybody else and are a puppet state according to everybody here. But since this is just kind of one of those ironic little things, and everybody said that we were a little town that didn't matter, when they pulled the national media coverage out, they said they were giving the town over to the Nazis, and now we don't see anything about Seattle or Portland or Minneapolis or anywhere else out there. No one seemed to give a damn about Detroit because, well, they make global warming. And there is New York and Washington, D.C., and I go, it just must be a district of Washington, D.C. So they did something back then in the 80s there. But I just like share with everybody and all this other stuff. And then they keep asking me, don't you know all these people? And it's like, what? I told one guy where a restaurant was and said, you don't want to go up there. They got the president up there. He's like, oh, I'm going to go up there and file grievances because I got a green card now. End of my life and stories. But it's mostly just a bunch of kicks and funny for laughs going, could it really even happen? But anyway, this one guy had California on there. And he told us about how all the pedophiles and everybody else were getting off and everything. And I was like, yes, they did make that referendum. And he explained it to me properly. Kind of like the nightly talk shows just get through all the BS and say really what's happening. They say I really only have a high school education. Not really. But as we all look at everything and go, well, the Bible Belt must have gone out there, and as it is, they used to live here until they were displaced. They must have followed the Dahmer Trail. Most amount of taxes for least amount of input. Well, it was a slave state, so I guess you're paying for everybody like all the people that moved over here that were with the Third Reich. And California pays for their rental properties here that they use to make money to send to their accounts over in Rome. But everything's for Jesus. And with the child molestation thing over there they have, uh, that's just because they need to be able to tell the police and the authorities and everything. I'm from an inbred population, and with my daughters, she was doing an erotic dance and made me drunk off of her. Yes, but it has to be the alcohol. That stuff is so good. Anyway, so how does it feel since slavery is now a form of that, which is choice of where you live at? And then the fact that when you leave your state, just like New York or Pennsylvania, they pay for all your living expenses or anything else from the tax dollars of the people that are trapped there. Remember, if you're out of state in California, there's no way to take your guns from them because you need to make sure that you can be safe in the new populace you live with. It is rather interesting with all of it, especially when the Coloradans decided to flee to Tennessee for salvation. And then I just look up the road up there, and there's another guy who was on YouTube who was telling us about how bad it was in New York and everything. And I go, don't cut it off that low where it's just like, the top of the, like, a story and a half. Because really it just looks like Gatlinburg and stuff back in the 80s. It was really bad for a week before the Corps of Engineers came in and revamped the whole place, or else 4 days. Same with Knoxville and parts of it downtown. We still got the vacant lots from where the buildings went down. One or two of them, they just started building on them. And it's been 40 years. We told you stuff was really bad here, and they go, you're just Southern racist Confederate slavers. Then they all went through and started shooting all the black people because they didn't come from South Africa. After all, they had to be working with the commies. That was really not funny, though. But it's 40 years ago. It's not like anybody from the South who might be angry and black went up north to find blue necks for any reason in this dry, ironic humor that I have. But anyway, since you're on the Appalachia Trail, I know you can't read and don't understand anything what I'm saying. And if you were asking for help or trying to do something right, that's why they all go off a teleprompter. Especially on Fox News. And CNN and them, unless they can interact with themselves, they can't read either. Because they're all illiterate because they're part of the Appalachian Trail. And their office is in New York City. Hey, don't mean we're cousins and related. Don't think you're going to have a place to sleep on my couch. I mean, being an intellectual in the South and reading Sam Clemens, when it meant that I was a racist, taught me about the race rallies and stuff that they had back in the 1880s and everything, where he wrote under the pen name Mark Twain because his stuff was too controversial about young white boys getting along with older black, leadership in a way. Maybe it was personal between them, and then them actually being able to travel around and learn about the United States and the world. After all, he did have to flee to California. He probably didn't take the Dahmer Trail. Thinking of which, since the Third Reich and the Axis powers that are here that broke out of the prison, and some of them have been on television and they keep going, Colin, what do you know about these people? I haven't been to the playground since I was 7 years old, seriously. We weren't allowed to be there in case they might start talking about whatever they were doing. Irony of the situation. They're cannibals. Did you know that the Dahmer Trail was on this one app that you can get on your phone and shows all the hiking trails across the entire United States? What happened on the Dahmer Trail? Remember that guy, Jeffrey? Wasn't a good guy. Oh well. I have no idea what I'm doing here anymore with this for comedy. We need more BPA in the stuff so we can be as flaky as we all said the women were. But I say, honestly, like my Aunt Pat, it's their attack pattern. It's like, three wideouts to the right, and then you have one guy who's a tight end who then breaks off the formation and acts like he's running in motion in front of the quarterback in a shotgun, and then comes around and circles around behind a quarterback and a running back, and the running back just keeps looking at him like, what the heck's happening? And then he runs up there and blocks the one guy. It's like, dude, I was faked out for that for a second. And the tight end runs off the left side. They throw it to him and he goes all the way down there. And the other guys were just there to like try and see if they could block or hit somebody in the shins before the guy passed him. Strong stuff. Anyway, I know this one will probably never get seen. Something about it just tells me the powers that be. Oh, yeah. All my loans for everything are from California, paying for everybody's land that they're buying in Texas and holding as rental property. And then all the New Yorkers are buying everything now in Seattle and Portland. I guess it's the independents that are going to Minneapolis for all the. Yeah, we can't say the F word for sales anymore. Ew. Doo-dee-doo-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo. Well, gotta do something.